I played Pokemon Violet for 24 hours, beat the gyms, defeated the Titans, bullied Team Star, discovered new Pokemon, new evolutions, found a shiny, and even traveled to the bottom of the Great Crater. Here's what happened. The adventure starts off and you immediately get to customize your character. I decided I didn't want to get too crazy with it, even though there's a ton of options. So this is what we ended up with. Looks kinda like me. The intro cutscene plays.
What is that thing?
Another cutscene starts, and it shows a motor scooter. And it's out of batteries! Then we start for real. Wait, our house is big, and my mom actually has her own room? And this guy shows up, the director. Yeah, he doesn't seem evil at all. We go outside and meet the starters, and then stumble upon our new neighbor. She wants to be our friend. No. Then we choose a starter. Obviously, we'll be going with the best choice, Quaxly. So, back to our neighbor. She's already a champion level trainer, which means she's pretty good. Oh, she's taking the starter we're strong against? She wants to battle? Oh, and we took her lunch money. Now we could start our adventure for real. But before we go, our mom gives us a nice tasty looking sandwich. Yum, I can't wait to eat that later. You already know our first order of business, catching one of these chunky boys. I also caught myself a tarantula and a palmy. After catching some new friends, we fall off a cliff and break all our bones. Roll credits. Just kidding, because our phone is a freaking parachute. Hey, look, a motor scooter. Seems like it needs a new pair of batteries. No! Don't get any funny ideas. Oh, come on! I love that our new friend didn't even check to see if we were okay. Like, girl, you watched me fall off a cliff. Soon after, we start picking a fight with a Houndoom. A level 40 Houndoom. But before we can absolutely roll it, our electric scooter gets in the way. Could have definitely taken it. Then we meet this guy, who's doing some research, similar to another guy from a Pokemon game I know. And we beat him up, and take his lunch money. Our next task is to make it to the academy in the main city of Mesagoza, but that's pretty far away, and we're finally able to just run around. So, of course, I immediately run in the complete opposite direction, and find Wiglet, which I battle and catch. Also, while in this first area, we find a Poopy Wooper, a Pooper, if you will, a Fido, a Shroodle, steal some kids' lunch money, visit an ice cream stand that sells the best ice cream, and, teriyaki ice cream? And discover you can no longer enter buildings. What's the point of a Pokemon game if I can't just barge into someone's house and be scared for my life? We also discover the new mechanic called Let's Go, where you send out your Pokemon and they basically just go on a killing spree without you watching them. Eventually, we made our way to the main gate of Mesagoza, and the champion wants to battle us again. It's a cakewalk, but this time, her second Pokemon puts on a fancy hat. This is called terastallizing. Your Pokemon puts on a hat in a goofy fashion, and can switch their type and become stronger. It's still pretty easy though, because the champion doesn't know that electric moves don't affect ground type Pokemon. We make our way to the school, where there's a couple of hooligans, which we beat up for picking on this person. We get into school, and into class, and oh my god, are you guys doing okay? Anyways, now we learn about the different paths we can take. Victory Road, where you could take on 8 gym leaders, Path of Legends, taking out the Titans, and finally, someone hacked into our phone, that's not sketchy, to tell us to take down more of those hooligans in Team Star. Then we meet the professor over Zoom.
Oh no, he's hot!
What's that? You're on mute. He basically tells us to watch over Mirelands, our electric scooter. Let me tell ya, I wasn't planning on giving him back. We then get to go to our dorm for the first time, and holy crap, how much is tuition for this place? When I went to college, I lived in a box. Time to start our treasure hunt. In this Pokemon game, you can go anywhere right off the bat. Tackle any challenge in any order. The world is your cloister. I decided to head east of Mesagoza, where we found this new Pokemon.
It's the Salt Guy? Like NaCl? That's a clever name.
And this one. We roamed around some more, Quaxly murdered more innocent Pokemon, I battled some trainers, found this weird looking pole in the ground, no idea what that's for. Quaxly evolved, so now he has an even bigger head of hair, we caught a Cloth, a new Grasshopper Pokemon, and eventually made our way to the first Titan Pokemon, the Stony Cliff Titan, which we beat up with our Ducky. It runs away, so we chase it, eats something a little spicy and gets a tummy ache. Arven shows up and we battle it together this time. It's still pretty easy though since we have the duck. After defeating it, we go into its lair and find the herb that gave Cloth a tummy ache. Arven thinks it's a good idea to make a sandwich with it. Okay man, whatever you say. And just like that, we got our first Titan badge. I don't want a tummy ache though, so I give my sandwich to my motor scooter. Oh no, we got a bellyache! Just kidding, Rhydon now has the ability to dash. Vroom. We then encounter one of the strangest Pokemon I've ever laid eyes on. It's 2 mice, but 1 Pokemon. We then entered Artezone, the location of the first Pokemon gym. But before taking on the leader, we need to complete the first gym test. For this test, you need to find 10 sunflowers hidden around the town. Oh, there's one right in front of us. You know, you're not very good at this. After finding 10 sunflowers, it was time to take on the gym leader. That can't be safe. Oh my god, he jumped! And he's such a Chad, he didn't even use his Rotom phone as a parachute. He leads off with a Petalil, which our Charcadet takes out with 3 embers. Arceus then sends out a Smoliv, Charcadet demolishes it with 2 embers, and his final Pokemon is Sootopolis. But me being an idiot, I forgot that it was gonna Terrastalize into a grass type, so I switched into Quaxwell. Sootopolis then proceeded to sweep my entire team. Oops, that's okay because the first gym is always the hardest one, right guys? Right? So we tried again, this time taking it a bit more serious. This time when Sootopolis came out, I sent out Pooper, which tanked a hit and used a super effective Poison Tail. We then sent out Tarantula as fodder. Sorry. But thanks to Tarantula, we were able to help our poopy boy, who hit Sootopolis with another Poison Tail. We did the same thing, but with Charcadet as fodder this time. Sorry. And Wooper came back to hit it with 1 more Poison Tail, before getting taken out. But, as a parting gift, Wooper's ability Poison Point left Sootopolis, well, poisoned. So we sent Quaxwell in to low sweep for the win. It was actually harder than expected, but we walked away with our first gym badge. Afterwards, we walked around the area, past the town, and caught a new bird. We got close to a Team Star base, so the hacker from before started talking to us. Then this person showed up. Director Clavel? No, definitely not. You can tell because this guy's far too young and has some incredible hair. Before entering the battle, I decided to catch some more new Pokemon, like this larger pig. Our Palmy evolved and is now an electric fighting type. Then we fought and caught a much less cool Scooter than the one we already have. And this new Tauros, which then made our Tarantula evolve. Oh my god, I hate it. Now it's time to take on the Team Star base. So we walk up and ring the doorbell. The way that Team Star bases work is that you have to auto battle with the first 3 Pokemon in your party. You have 10 minutes to knock out 30 of Team Star's Pokemon. It's pretty boring and extremely easy, but it's just the appetizer before the main course, which is taking on the Team Star boss, who has a whole car! Right off the bat, we're at a disadvantage. I plan to use my Quaxwell, but her Torkoal has the ability Drought, which weakens water type attacks.
They ask you how you are.
I attempted to counter this by using Work Up, which increases my Pokemon's attack stat, but Quaxwell still didn't do much with an Aqua Jet. So I switched into Pooper, who immediately died. Next, I sent in Mr. Salt, who hit Torkoal with a Smackdown, which also didn't do much. It was at this point that I realized how severely underleveled we were. I switched into Charcadet in order to heal Quaxwell. I sent out Palmo to get rid of Quaxwell's burn. Palmo actually survived a hit and used Dig before being taken out. Quaxwell then came back out and Terrastalized in order to make its water type attacks even stronger. 2 more Aqua Jets and Torkoal was donezo. Unfortunately for us, her second Pokemon wasn't much easier. It was still much stronger than us and took out the rest of my team except for Quaxwell. We were doomed. But then I had a genius strategy. Cheese. We used an X defense to prevent Quaxwell from going down, healed again, and then started bombarding her car with Aqua Jets, and defeated the Team Star boss. And for some reason she walks like this. But who cares, we won! Following our stunning victory, I booked it straight back to Mesagoza to check out the west side. But before traveling into the next city, I made a little picnic to show some appreciation to my Pokemon. We gave Pooper a little bath because he's a stinky boy, and then made our very first sandwich. But I blew it with the top portion. Then we gave it a taste. And wow, okay, that was definitely an animation. Anyways, we caught a couple of new Pokemon, but before attempting to challenge the next gym, I wanted to go check out our first mass outbreak. You know, maybe get lucky with a shiny? Only problem was, the only one near us was over a mountain. So we started traveling, and caught a few more Pokemon, and eventually made it to the outbreak, but only to realize they were a little too strong for us. And here's the thing, I didn't really care much about the outbreak, I just wanted to catch one of these burbs, but it didn't go too well. So, back to the second gym. Now we were pushing a big olive. Goal! Now, gym battle time. This one was much easier than the first. Charcadet just one-shot every Pokemon. Pooper evolved into a big plushie. And we got our second gym badge. Now that I've seen Clodsire, I decided to put it in the box and bring along Smoliv. We continued adventuring and ran into the oldest academy student to exist. And you already know, I took his lunch money. And now we were right by the next Titan Pokemon. But before taking it on, I wanted to evolve my Palmo. And I was told by chat it evolves by taking 1,000 steps in Let's Go mode. So we spent the next 10 minutes running around a rock, and eventually got ourselves a Palmot. We then dodged and weaved around some falling boulders and started battling the Flying Titan. Our salty boy beat it with only 2 smackdowns. Then on to phase 2. Mr. Salt just used more rock moves and we won. Easy peasy. Arvin then made us a really stinky sandwich. So I gave it to my dog, and now it can swim. Arvin then tells us the real reason why he wants the rare herbs from the Titans. It's to heal his puppy Pokemon, who can't even walk anymore. Oh my god, that's so sad. I swear I'll help you, doggo, even if it kills me. Anyways, after crying my eyes out, we found this glowing murder hornet. So we caught it, and my salty boy evolved into Minecraft. Little did I know this absolute beauty was about to become the MVP of my team because of one move. Next on the agenda was Team Star's Dark-type base. So we beat up the guard and rang the doorbell. After defeating another 30 Pokemon, the boss appeared. Quaxwell cleaned up his ponyard with a low sweep, and Palmot came out and used a couple of arm thrusts to wreck his car. 2 bases down. Luckily for us, the next gym was right beyond the Team Star base. So we headed over and the leader booked it out of town. But he forgot his wallet, so we needed to chase him down and give it back to him. Only problem with this is that the place we're going to is through the desert. Obviously this wouldn't be much of an issue, that is until we ran into this thing. Another motor scooter, a Donphan from the... and the next Titan Pokemon. Or so I thought. Turns out this is actually meant to be the 4th Titan you face, so it was much stronger than the rest of my team. After such a humiliating defeat, my ego was damaged. So of course I went and tried again. The results were looking the same, until I had a stroke of genius. I sent out our Minecrafty boy, and remember that move I was talking about earlier? Well, the move itself doesn't do too much damage, but it has an extra effect where it does a little bit of damage after each turn, similar to being burned or poisoned. Except, if this move is used on either a water or steel type Pokemon, it does a lot of damage.
Oh my god.
So with that, we managed to just scrape by and defeat the Titan's first phase. Of course, after barely winning, I went and healed before fighting the second phase. After learning the true potential of Minecraft, I put him in front of the squad, and went to take on the Titan again. This is when I realized I was severely underleveled. When Arvin came to help, his Pokemon was level 44. I would show you, but my big dumb head is in the way. Oops. My highest Pokemon is only 25. Anyways, I hit the Metal Elephant with a Salt Cure, stalled, and the rest is history. Another Titan down, and another gross looking sandwich. Arvin really isn't a good cook. We fed the sandwiches to our dogs, and now mine can glide, and Arvin's can bark. So basically their power levels are the same. Afterwards, I found 2 incredible new Pokemon. A literal dung beetle, and I kid you not, a freaking tumbleweed. This is one of the greatest things I have ever seen. I love it! Eventually we made it to where the gym leader was to return his wallet.
Take it. It's not my wallet.
He then gives us a cool 50 grand, which we spent every last penny of on some food. We're starving here because Arvin hasn't made a single edible sandwich for us. We headed back towards the gym to battle, only to be stopped by Nemona, who wants to battle again. We absolutely just embarrass her, but not before getting to see Fuecoco's second stage. And oh my god, I love this guy. He's got a sombrero, and now he has a hat on top of his hat. Unfortunately, we have to take it out, and thus defeated the champion once again. Immediately after, we get to take on the water gym leader. We lead off with Smoliv, who gets taken out by an unexpected pluck from Veluza. So we switch in Palmot to use its signature move, Revival Blessing, which brings a dead party member back to life. Then we terrestrialize and use our boosted electric moves to knock out his Veluza. Kofu then sends out this monstrosity, which we put out of its misery with another boosted spark. His last Pokemon is Crabominal, which we're able to hit with 1 spark before it KOs our Palmot. So we send out our favorite salty boy to use our favorite salty move. Our salt stack has sturdy, so it can't be taken out with 1 hit, and we're able to land a Salt Cure, which, if you remember, does extra damage to water type Pokemon. It takes it out right after that turn. Now we got our 3rd gym badge, and an amazing photo to go along with it. Next, I wanted to make my way to the normal type gym, but on our way there, we started encountering Pokemon a lot higher level than us. Like, a lot. We even ran into this Pokemon called Tatsugiri, which was level 51, and somehow caught it. All the battles with these Pokemon much stronger than us had us whimpering to the Pokemon Center. I assumed if Pokemon around this area were this strong, we should probably come back and do the normal gym later. So we went back over to the electric gym. On our way there, we caught a new Burb, so we said goodbye to Palmot to fit it onto our team. Then Smoliv evolved into Dolliv. The electric type gym leader is a streamer, so she had us pump up her views. Speaking of streaming, this entire playthrough I did was streamed live on my Twitch, so make sure you head over there and follow if you want to watch me play Pokemon live. Also, while you're doing that, you might as well like and subscribe. Anyways, she had the hardest gym test yet, playing Where's Waldo with Clive. I mean, the director. So this was gonna be a challenge. There he is. Now it was time to battle the leader. She had 4 Pokemon, but we took them all out with relative ease, and now had our 4th gym badge. Soon after, we found ourselves near another Titan Pokemon,
Alaskan Bullworm!
Orthworm, the Steel Titan. We had Charcadet terrestrialize and easily knock it out after a couple of flame charges. And for phase 2, we did the exact same thing. Absolute freelo. 4 Titans down, 1 to go. And of course, I don't trust Arven's cooking, so Miraidon can have my sandwich. And now it can jump higher. After, we rode over to a new town to heal. And in this place, there's a woman that'll trade us a malicious set of armor for 10 Sinistea chips. If you don't know, malicious armor is what you give to Charcadet in order to evolve it into Ceruledge. So we'll be back for that. We run around and find one of these cuties, which has an awesome type combo. So it's coming on the team. This also prompted Watro to evolve into Kilowattrel. We then headed over to the next Team Star base. But this time, I flew in as opposed to ringing the bell, because I could be a bad boy too, except then I got yelled at, so I had to ring the bell anyways. This base was Team Star's Poison Crew.
Oh no, he's hot!
Unluckily for us, I had nothing to deal with poison types. We tried our best, and got pretty close, but in the end, we lost. After this crushing defeat, we made our way to the location of the next gym, the Psychic Gym. But before taking it on, I wanted my Ceruledge. Lucky for us, there was a whole bunch of Sinestees right near this place. So we reduced the Sinistee population, and went back to the lady to trade her, and immediately used the malicious armor on Charcadet. Then went straight back to Alfornada to take on the gym. The test this time was just a nice class of yoga, but between each set we had to fight other gym trainers. These battles were no problem for our newly obtained Ceruledge. And the rest of our team went on an evolving spree. Quaxwell evolved into Quaquavel, the dancing star I always knew he'd be. And take a look at that dumpy. Minecraft turned into an iron golem. And Dolive evolved into Arboliva. After all that, it was time to take on the gym leader, Mommy. She led with Farigiraf, which is one of the only things my ghosty boy can't handle. So I switch into my Tinkatuff, who does some chip damage with Flash Cannon and Brutal Swing before going down. So we send in our newly evolved Minecraft creature to hit it with a Salt Cure, and then a Hammer Arm, before Farigiraf goes down to the Salt Cure. Tulip's next Pokemon is Gardevoir, so we send Ceruledge back out to hit it with a Flame Charge to increase its speed, and then use Shadow Claw to get it to 1 HP. Ceruledge gets knocked out, and we go into our Dancing Duck to KO Gardevoir with an Aqua Jet. Next we bring Kilowattrel out to hit her next Pokemon Espathra with an Electro Ball, which does basically nothing. So I revive Ceruledge before Kilowattrel faints, then send the Iron Golem back out to hit the bird with a Salt Cure, and eventually it goes down. Her last Pokemon is Florges, which knocks out our Golem. So Ceruledge comes back out to hit Florges with a huge Shadow Claw, and we switch in Quaquavel to terrestrialize and take it out with a boosted Aqua Jet. 5th gym complete. Directly after beating the gym, Nemona wants to battle, and Geeta, the top champion, wants to observe. So I need to make a good impression. And let's just say, I embarrassed Nemona again. After, my Tinkatuff evolves into Tinkaton, which carries a 220-pound hammer,
Wow.
and learns a 160 power move.
Wow.
With our new, fully evolved team, it was time to get our revenge on Team Star's poison base. This time, with a plan. We started with Ceruledge, who hit Skuntank with a Flame Charge to make sure it was faster. Skuntank then poisoned my Ceruledge with Toxic. The only attacking move that Skuntank uses is Sucker Punch, which only works if your Pokemon also attacks. So, instead of attacking, I set up 3 Swords Dance on Ceruledge so it had +6 attack. Then healed off the poison to ensure Skuntank would try and use Toxic again, and then just swept the boss's team with a mix of Flame Charges and Shadow Claw. Easy. First try. 3 bases down. It was now time to go slay the final Titan, and oh wow, that's the smallest Titan yet. Just kidding. That thing just got eaten right in front of us. Honestly though, this Titan was free. Our Olive Tree took it down no sweat, and Phase 2 was just as easy. Except this Titan had a Phase 3. I know, what a plot twist. Fortunately, our whole team got healed without us knowing, so we took down the little piece of sushi fairly quickly. And with that, the final Titan was slain. And that sandwich is literally on fire. Jeez, Arven just can't cook. And now our scooter can climb. But more importantly, Arven's doggo is all better. Yay! Who's a good boy? Professor Turo then tells us to head to his lab at the lighthouse where we first met Arven, and we learn that Arven has some daddy issues. But that's an issue we can tackle later. For now, we have other things to focus on, like the normal type gym. Who has the most vanilla gym leader ever? Anyways, this was definitely the easiest gym yet. I grossly overestimated it. Quaquaval kicks his koala to death, and then he sends out this thing. That's Dunsparce's evolution? Dunsparce? What a troll. So we kick it. And then we kick his bird. When in doubt, kick your way out. We then scale this huge mountain to reach another gym that's at its summit. I gotta say, this is the worst place to have a gym. We go in to challenge the leader. And of course, Nimona is here and wants to fight again.
Come on, man. That's too easy.
Now it's gym leader time.
Oh no, he's hot!
He leads off with a Frostmoth that we one-shot with Ceruledge. His second Pokemon gets knocked out by my Duck's kicks. The Titan then gets kicked. When in doubt, kick your way out. And his last Pokemon is Altaria, which we use our comically large hammer to bonk on the head. And then Flash Cannon for the win. 7 gyms done, 1 to go. Now it's time for us to catch the final official member of our team. In order to do that, we need to make the tastiest looking sandwich ever. See, this is how it's done, Arvin. Which gives us encounter power for dragons. And along comes this little fella. Welcome to the team, Frigibax. And it immediately evolves into Arctibax. Ding dong, I'm here to raid your base. We lead with Tinkaton and just start bonking. And finish off anything that survives with Flash Cannon. Heavy Slam the Wigglytuff. Heavy Slam the Wiener Dog made of pastries. And give the car a nice huge bonk. Only 1 Team Star base left. But first, the final gym battle. I challenged the leader to a rap battle, but she's too afraid of my skills, so we just have a Pokemon battle instead. It's a double battle, and I have Tinkaton and the Iron Golem out. Both of them know moves that hit both of the gym leader's Pokemon at the same time. And, well, we defeat Rhyme very quickly. Kind of an anticlimactic final gym battle. Whoops. But now we have all 8 badges and can take on the Pokemon League. But before that, we had one final Team Star base. So we booked it over there as quickly as possible, and of course our extremely young friend tags along. We start the battle with the Fighting Boss's base. What? We start the battle with the Fighting Base's boss, and get our first Pokemon down easily with Kilowattrel. But then her Annihilate comes in and starts beating up my team, until it's weak enough for our Duck to come in and finish it with an Aqua Jet. We knock out her next 2 Pokemon with Quaquavel, and finish off her car with Kilowattrel. And with that, we've beaten every Team Star boss. Now all that's left is to defeat the big boss of Team Star, which is revealed to be Cassiopeia. You know, the hacker. Ah, what a shock. We're told to meet them at the schoolyard after dark. So we head over there just as the sun begins to rise, like the absolute Chad we are. Like I said, I can be a bad boy. We're greeted by our good friend Clive at the door, who reveals themselves to be Director Clavel. Oh my god, no way! Not only that, but he reveals himself to be Cassiopeia, the big boss of Team Star. That's right, I knew this guy was evil. Now we fight. We have a relatively uninteresting battle. You can tell because this child is having way more fun hopping around with their Rockruff, and other kids just walk right through our battlefield. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Kinda rude. But after all those distractions, we take down the evil team leader. Only for him to reveal that he's a big liar and was just testing our strength for the real leader. Like I said before, if anyone actually thought the director was evil, you must be pretty stupid. Anyways, now we have to fight the real Cassiopeia. Penny? The girl who we helped at the start? Well, she did tell me she was good at hacking that one time, so I guess this should have been obvious. Fight. She just has a bunch of evolutions. So... we have now defeated Team Star for good, and all the former bosses decide to come back to school. They all get off scot-free. Except for Penny, because she committed grand larceny. Lock her up. Oh well, who cares? Starfall Street, complete. Anyways, now it was time to meet up with Arvin at the professor's lab, since we just left him hanging for the past couple of hours. Somehow we still beat him here. We head inside and the professor tells us to get to the bottom of the Great Crater to help him out. But before we can, we battle Arvin to see if we're strong enough. And he wants to use his pupper. Bro, I just spent so much time getting him fixed up. I don't want to send him back to the hospital. We can't convince him otherwise. So, rip. Path of Legends complete. Before we can head to the crater though, we have one final task, the Pokemon League. And before we could take on the Elite Four, we need to have an interview. Okay, I didn't realize I was applying for a job. We basically get asked about our entire adventure. And then the final question, do you like Pokemon? No. So we didn't pass. Weird. So we went in and tried again, this time lying. You know, like a liar. Now we can take on the Elite Four. First up is our interviewer, who uses ground types. So we just Aqua Step with Quaquaval and deal with her easily. Next is a literal child, who uses steel types. So Ceruledge used Bitterblade and Shadow Claw a couple times and we won. Now go change your poopy pants. Third is our good old friend Larry. Larry wasn't allowed to use normal types here as well, so he uses the next blandest type, Flying. So with that information, we give Artabac some XP candy to evolve it into Godzilla. We freeze and electrocute all his burbs. Easy. Last is this guy who uses dragons. So we continue our freezing spree. But we also let Tinkaton come out because it's hammer time. And by hammer time, I mean using play rough until we win. With that, the Elite Four are done. But now it was time for the top dog, Geeta. She leads with Espathra, and I lead with a bad matchup. So I switch into Tinkaton to bonk it with a Skitter Smack. Next is Avalugg. So we go back into Quaquaval to knock it out with 2 close combats. Then she sends out Go-Go. So we put Kilowattrel in for some air cutters. Her 4th Pokemon is King Gambit, which is Bisharp's new evolution. So Kilowattrel Volt switches out and into the Iron Golem for a Hammer Arm. Except King Gambit hit me with an Iron Head first. Ow. So Quaquaval comes back out for another close combat. Then she sends out Veluza. So back to Kilowattrel, this time to use Discharge, which is a 2-hit KO. And her final Pokemon is one I've never seen before. Turns out this thing's a rock type.
I'm in danger.
So we Volt Switch and bring out Tinkaton, who uses one last massive bonk for the win. Woo! As soon as we leave, Nemona shows up spouting that we're finally equals. Okay, like I haven't beat you every single time. She says something about being rivals for life. No, 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 no. And now wants to battle again. So I bring her to the middle of Mesagoza and demolish her one last time for everyone to see. Victory Road complete. Now there was only one thing left to do. Travel to the bottom of the Great Crater. But before we do that, I only have one thing on my mind. Finding a shiny Pokemon. And eventually... Oh! Let's go! First shiny in this game. Okay, with that out of the way, we can continue. In order to help the professor, we have to go to the 4 research stations to unlock Area 0. So we just start pressing buttons.
Touch.
And what the heck is that thing? It's
A robot.
So we literally blow its head off. As we travel further down, we learn that these robots are actually Pokemon from the distant future. Eventually we make it all the way to the bottom and find another electric scooter. This one isn't as nice, but it leaves us alone, and we get jumped by other robots. Good luck with that, guys. So we go in the lab and find the professor, only to discover that this isn't actually him. It's an artificial intelligence he created, because the real guy went bye-bye. So this robot wants us to stop the time machine that's bringing all the future Pokemon to our time. So he's actually a good guy. Aww. So we head to this really trippy room to stop the time machine. But just before we do, AI Turo tells us that once we attempt to do so, his code will be overwritten and try to stop us. So that's exactly what ends up happening. He starts off with an Iron Moth. I have no idea what type it is, so I hit it with an Air Cutter and then Volt Switch out to get it to half. I bring out Quaquaval and hit it with an Aqua Step, which is super effective and knocks it out. Next is Iron Bundle, which is a future Delibird, and it's a water type. So I bring Kilowattrel back out to hit it with a Volt Switch, which one-shots it. I then have my Salty Boy hit his Iron Thorns with an Earthquake. Iron Hands is next. So I bring Kilowattrel out, expecting it to use an electric attack, which it does. My Kilowattrel has Volt Absorb, so it gets some health back. Then we KO with a couple of Air Cutters. Next is Iron Juggalus. We stay in to hit it with Volt Switch, which brings it to red. Then we bring in Baxcalibur, who immediately dies. So Kilowattrel comes back out and Volt Switches again. Iron Valiant is his last Pokemon. So we bring out our Iron Golem and it gets knocked out. So we go back into the burb and Air Cutter for a one-hit KO. We win and the day is saved. Just kidding, because he has one final ace up his sleeve, the Miraidon from before. But we can't battle because Turo locks all our Pokeballs up, except for one. It's time for an electric scooter battle, which we win by terastallizing Miraidon and hitting him with a beefy Terra Blast. Now, let's go home. The end. This game obviously has its fair share of issues, but it was a lot of fun to play. And there's still plenty more to do. If you made it this far, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you liked the video, give it a like and consider subscribing. Bye.